Thank you for joining JayBuc Game Tech once again. I am your host, JayBuc, episode 5, and I come bearing more news. Okay, we've been looking at the news recently, and we've been seeing how Microsoft is supposed to come out with their own VR headset, when really what they're showing is an augmented reality model. What this means is that it's more comparable to what a Google Glass would be putting out, opposed to an Oculus Rift. An interesting theory that I've been developing over the past few weeks is, what if this is all a distraction for Microsoft and Facebook to work together on the Oculus Rift, and the acquisition of the other company is to buy intellectual property so that some things can be used while they're developing this without the backlash from other companies. Now, if you followed the Microsoft Build Developers Conference today, you would have seen where they took the WebGL platform and demonstrated it using the Oculus Rift. They added one line of code and made the game compatible with the Oculus Rift. As we all know by now, that Microsoft is a big stakeholder in Facebook, so it would seem fitting for them to not compete with the Oculus Rift in the first place. Okay, now that's just one thing to think about. Another thing we saw at the conference today was how the cloud actually works with these games. It's something that we've been talking about for a little while, and this developer conference gave it a little bit more understanding. I have an article here I'll put in the description entitled, "Here's how we'll get better games for Xbox than the PlayStation will ever have." Since they've also talked about how ray tracing won't be a part of DirectX 12, they did mention in this conference that the cloud is able to simulate physics instead of having it run from a computer. Now, they ran the same graphic at a high-end computer on a high-end computer and got 2 frames per second. And they did the same graphics test with Cloud Assist is what they're calling it, and it runs at 32 frames per second. Now, it's interesting seeing this because this is a question I've been asking everyone. When everyone says, well, Titanfall 2 is going to be on all platforms, no question about it. They're talking about bringing Titanfall to Wii U, which is why they delayed it. That was a leak, so to speak, as they tried to present it to be. What would companies have to do in order to get this technology onto their console? Because when Titanfall was released, they specifically stated that the Azure Cloud is the defining point as to why it couldn't go on certain consoles, because they didn't have the capability to be able to render physics in the way that Microsoft does, and the servers wouldn't be scalable enough to try to run this game with the amount of people who may be online. So that's just something to think about. If you have a response to that, please reply. These are just 2 things to think about. I'll be back on here more frequently now that I got my computer running a lot better. And if you like this video, please comment, like, subscribe. Until next time, JayBuc out.